This is our post-hurricane update from not only the popular areas that we've been showing you, but some of the communities that we've been helping a lot of you all out in, from Tampa to Orlando. Stick around. All right, so now we're in the Tampa side of things, obviously with the Wesley Chapel King himself. Corey, how are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just want to give everybody an update, right? Because these are the types of things that we do for our clients, but obviously with the viewers out there, we want to be honest. We want to show them how some of these communities held up, especially moving forward, to answer questions for people, right? First hurricane to hit Tampa directly in 100 years. So we really couldn't give our insight on like what happens when a hurricane hits Tampa directly, but now we have some good insight.
That's right. And it's the first time in my experience of being in Florida, the 10, 11 years I've been here, that I've had to encounter a direct hit of a hurricane. And, like you said, we did kind of have we didn't really have all the answers to give people about how it's going to affect these communities, but we were able to get some good footage and some good knowledge on how these new construction communities held up. We went out to many different areas trying to help our clients as best as possible, whether they were under contract for a home closing, which one of these homes is closing actually tomorrow, just after the hurricane. We have clients that have closed in the past 60 to 90 days that are new to Florida.
Yeah.
And also clients that are out of state that are searching for property right now in the Tampa area. So we're able to get our boots on the ground. All this footage is going to come a little less than 48 hours right after the storm. And you can see from where we are in the first community in Lando Lakes, this builder and this community held up very well when it came down to the homes, the flooding, and I would say a percentage of the community lost some power because I saw some generators while I was out there, but I also saw homes with power on.
Let's start north of Tampa, right? Like where we're at, because that's where you live. You live north of Tampa. And so
Yes.
How was it during the storm? Like, did you guys lose power? And what was like how long did somebody go without power in that general area?
So personally, I did not lose power throughout the storm, which was a huge blessing. We did not have any damage to the property and no flooding in the kind of the heart of Wesley Chapel where I'm at now. I did run into a ton of people that said they lost power for maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, and then I heard all the way up at the highest point up to about 4 days that people lost power, kind of sprinkled into the area: Wesley Chapel, Lando Lake, San Antonio, Lutz. But I would say probably 60 to 75% of the people that I spoke to after the storm didn't lose power at all.
Yeah, yeah. And so there was some flooding, right? Like you have some footage here of some now. Talk to us about this, right? This looks like a golf course to me.
It is. It looks like what used to be a golf course. Now
it used to be a golf course. Now it's a lake.
It's now a lagoon. It's a lagoon.
It's a lagoon.
Like a new lagoon. Yeah. So this community is Silver Oaks, which is just off of 301 State Road 56. It is probably, I would say, a little bit lower laying area, especially with having the golf course in it. But sprinkled throughout the Pasco County, we did see some flooding in communities such as right here in Silver Oaks. Now, from the communities that I was able to get into, the newer communities, which would be the Epperson Lagoon, Morado Lagoon, Watergrass,
all the popular places that we show, and then people that are coming to
all the hot spots.
Yeah.
Yes. All those new construction homes, they did pretty well during the storm, and we were able to get out and fly the drones over the roofs to help knock on our clients' doors, check on them, see how they did, fly the drone, make sure that their roof is in what appears to be good condition, or we can refer them to a licensed professional to get that covered. But we saw that the new construction communities held up pretty well, and I did see a few of the older communities, such as this one, Lexington Oaks and Wesley Chapel, that had a little bit of flooding there.
Man, the turtle, really? All right,
he made it, man.
We're back. He did make it. We're back to the communities that we show here on the channel and that we help a lot of people with here on the channel. And that seems to be the common theme, even going into Orlando. Same thing, right? A lot of the older areas might have some drainage issues. A lot of the newer communities had zero issues, living next to a pond, like water. Like let's be honest, like this had a direct hit of a hurricane. And so you have homes that are right next to ponds and water, and there are absolutely no issues. And it just goes to show that the codes are just, the newer codes are just different, and they're much better, in my opinion,
They have seen significant improvements with especially these new construction communities The codes have changed, and they build these communities thoughtfully with in mind the inclement weather that comes through, heavy rains during the summer. So they do have these beautiful water views, but they're designed to uphold these kind of scenarios, which we go through for 60 days almost every year.
So talk to everybody about what it is that we do for our clients, that are under contract, that are heading to closing, maybe they're closing on the day that the storm's coming, or maybe a week after, or even, like you said, our people that have closed over the last 90 days to a year, heck, even beyond that.
It feels like you've been listening in on my phone conversation or something, because I think every one of those scenarios has just happened in the past 60 days here. So we had people that closed the day before Hurricane Helene. They got in and just got enough, necessities to survive that storm, and everything was good. We have people that are closing days after the storm. We had someone that was trying to go under contract during the storm, right in the middle of it. She was like, "Hey, I want to put an offer on a property."
That's how you get a good deal, right? Like the builders are all scrambling and boarding up their windows. You're like, "Hey, let me put one more offer in for you."
Exactly. But we were able to, with our closed clients, get out, make sure we either text them or come knock on the door, check and see how they're doing, how the property held up, how their experience was, and give any helpful tips or insights if it is your first time in the state dealing with a hurricane. We are also able to, for our clients that were under contract, get right out to their properties, check to see if there's any damage since the last time we've been on the property, anything that we could flag and make sure while they're still under contract with these builders can be repaired before they close these homes. Luckily, we didn't see any situations in a couple frame homes we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the first home that we had on the screen was a completed home, which will be closing this week. So, and then we also have clients that are, like we said, moving to the area, trying to put offers in on homes, even during the storms, because people know when they come to Florida that this is an issue they have to deal with. It's one of the first questions we get in our consultations.
It's this is this in alligators, right? And it doesn't rain alligators, right? So we usually focus on this first.
Exactly. So this is something we have a little less control of than the alligators, but we can still prepare, give our best knowledge and information onto which communities are holding up, which builders are holding up during these storms, and kind of guide you in the best direction. And like we said, couple that with knowledge to help you and people that can help you during these times that we have to deal with, a couple days of the year.
And that's what you get with us, right? Like, yeah, we're showing you these communities, we're giving you insights and little tips and stuff, but all of our people that are under contract with us or have purchased something with us get to see the value in having somebody here to rely on. Because if you just close, there's a good chance we may be your only friends in the area for at least the first month until you start to develop some relationships. So those people that were just 2 days in, the people that are under contract that aren't in Florida, they get those boots on the ground to have people assess the property and help them out with the needs that they do have. What would you give Pasco like a grade? If you were to give them a grade on how they did during the hurricane, what kind of grade would you give them?
I would probably say maybe like a B. I think a B is fair. We did have some flooding in the area. Most of the infrastructure held up pretty well. You see fences down all over. That's one of the first things to go, with like little trees. But other than that, I would say they did pretty well. What Pasco kind of saw, which was very interesting and new to the area, was this reverse flooding effect, where about 2 days after the storms, these kind of ponds and rivers started rising with all the water coming on shore. So it was a beautiful blue day, and then you see, hey, get to higher grounds in Pasco County. But we mostly, I would say primarily saw it in those older communities that are laying a little bit lower. But from the 95% of the homes I was able to check on after the storm, the communities did just fine. So I think it overall did pretty good.
So obviously touched base with all of our clients and all the communities that we do sell in. Mm-hmm. One that I was really interested in was Waterset by Pulte, because look at where, like, this is where the eye came, like right here. And this is Tampa Bay. And so you know how the whole, the water coming in and pulling in from the hurricane. So I really wanted to check on that. And from what our client said, Waterset was perfectly fine, zero issues.
Love to hear it.
Without power for a little bit, but just on the west side of 41, there was flooding over there. So, this is some shots of Waterset. Obviously, not even close to hurricane time here. These are from a while back, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that. I was obviously like grateful to hear that. But that was a
Yes.
community I was like, I'm interested in seeing how that's going to hold up, because our word, let's just say a hurricane doesn't hit that spot for another 100 years. At least we got some data to give people like, hey, this did well, and on the other side didn't do too well.
That's what the one positive thing we can take from this is now we know
Now
what
we know.
areas held up, which builders held up, and we can even give you more knowledge and a better idea of how this home or these communities are going to hold up when you're relocating to the area, which most of our clients are relocating. So it might be the first time having to deal with a major storm like this, or they just don't know how the different areas will hold up. But at least we have a little bit of a background now on how we'll hold up during these major storms and heavy rains.
100%. Okay. Anything else for them before we hop off?
I still think that in the area, after everything we saw, that the new construction homes were the ones that held up best overall.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't see too many trends of particular builders with issues out in the Tampa area. We did see some of that in the Central Florida area. So if you stick around, you'll learn a little bit more. Corey, we appreciate you, man, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you. All right, guys.
All right. So now we're going to talk about Polk County. We have Miss Crystal here on the team. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Christian?
I am doing great. Give everybody an assessment of how Polk did.
Isn't this your birthday?
Oh, crap.
I mean, birthday.
It is my birthday. I don't know when they're seeing it. Maybe it's going to be posted today, but it is my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hey, you. All right. Give everybody a rundown of how Polk did, right? Because we're centrally located, and a lot of people that you help on the team here want Polk because of this type of reason, right? Because of this type of scenario.
Okay, so, we were braced for possibly a big storm. When you hear a 5 is possibly coming your way, when, Hurricane Michael hit the Panhandle a few years back, the people inland still got a pretty major storm. We're about as far away from the beach as some of my family was that got a major storm going over them. But we were blessed that it calmed down. And what was it, maybe a 2 when it came over us?
I would say a 2. But the eye came over us, though, because I'm in Polk as well.
And we've had that happen before. There was a lot of tornado warnings south of our main area here where we sell in Polk County. It was more south, kind of less populated areas. I mean, there's some houses and things there. Pretty close to Villamar was the edge of some of those storms, but I don't think any of those tornadoes were ever confirmed touchdowns. They see the rotation on the radar. So I don't know of any that actually hit in this area. As far as power goes, this section that we're looking at right here in Villamar, I know was out of power for about 24 hours. I don't think anyone ever lost water, or we didn't have any boil notices or anything weird like that. So about 24 hours while they get a transformer fixed. All the power lines are underground, but you still have those transformers above ground. So they get struck by lightning or the wind's blowing hard enough. You've probably all seen the great glow of green in the sky when a transformer blows. That happens quite a bit when we have storms. So all in all, I think we did pretty incredible. I mean, the damage that you're seeing here in this video of Villamar is mainly roof shingles that have blown off. I don't think there's anything really deeper than just the shingle layer getting blown off, and then some down fences. And that's been pretty much the case with every construction I've been to the past couple of weeks. We're about 2 weeks out from the storm at this point. So you can see those blue tarps, where the roofers have come out and assessed it. I've been in Eden Hills. There was a lot of fences blown down, some roof damages to the same builder that we're looking at here in this section of Villamar, the same builder.
Let's talk about that. I mean, that was pretty neat when it popped up, because the first thing that we do, right, like before the storm, is we prep our people, all of our clients. A lot of you all that are watching are coming into the state of Florida, and so you don't really understand how it really goes, like when there's a hurricane. And we get a hurricane here and there, but this one we knew was like, okay, it's coming. This is going to be one that's like, let's at least get ready for, right? And so after the fact, and when we're following up with our people, all of our clients' homes did really well in Polk, but inside of the Facebook groups and even your assessment right here, we're noticing that there's one builder that's really having this shingle issue. And, this is just based off of what we've seen. We're not saying that this is a good, bad, ugly thing. This is just real. And this is the type of information that we do like to give our people that are watching, right? Like we want to be as honest as we can, but talk to us a little more about that.
Actually ran into someone this weekend at the Oktoberfest in downtown Winter Haven, and he was assessing damages for the city. He works for the city. And I mentioned to him that I noticed that all the neighborhoods with new construction that had shingle damage seemed to be the D.R. Horton houses. And he said that that was the exact same thing that he was finding. Now, your shingles are supposed to be rated, for hurricane force winds in Florida. I mean, if a 5 comes through, which I don't ever expect that to happen. Right. That's like your exception to these ratings. I think a lot of the windows are rated for 140 to 160 mile per hour winds. We didn't even come close to that with this storm. Most people didn't even board up their windows for this storm. Sometimes you do if you have a lot of tree limbs you're worried about or something like that.
I don't see any tarps over here on this side, right? Like it's only in that one particular section. And that was the same thing for other communities that some of our clients lived in. It was like the same thing, like, and thankfully our clients, even our clients that have DR homes, totally fine. But the ones that have had issues in some of these communities, especially with the shingles, it's been a trend.
Yeah, and I believe it was the same way with the last storm. I did speak with a construction manager for Meritage in the Eden Hills area, because we were looking at one of our buyers that was buying in Eden Hills has bought a Meritage. They waited we said, let's wait and do that inspection till after the storm blows through. So just in case there's any damages, we can check it out. So she was saying that she's convinced it's an installation issue with whoever they're using to put in their roofs, that it just should not be that way. And I did try to research their warranty. So you have a 1-year warranty on these issues. Like if you have any leaks or anything like that, within a year they will fix it as long as it's not due to heavy wind or rain. So if it's like a plumbing or something, fix it. But if it's heavy wind or rain, they won't. If shingles blow off and it is due to installation defect within that first year, they will fix it. But are they going to give you a hard time about proving that it's their defect? We don't really know. Yeah. So it's going to be a claim with your homeowner's insurance. So think about, those deductibles and things that you're going to have to pay.
It was definitely a good find. It was something that you saw. We flew the drone over a community that we sell a lot in, and even our clients in other communities brought it up. And it's like, this is too blatant. Where we can at least have to tell our people what we are seeing, right? And we're not saying good, bad, or anything. We sell a lot of D.R. Horton homes, but this is a very unfortunate pattern that we did see. I do want to say something real quick. Polk County as a whole, there's some parts in Lakeland that did have some flooding issues, but the trend that I was seeing with this is that there are a lot of the older areas. A lot of these older areas are the ones that had some of the flooding issues. And so, showing you the aerial right here, you're seeing shots that are, homes right next to retention ponds, right, and drainage areas. And so this is how long after the hurricane was this footage right here? A few days?
That's a swampy area there. There's always some area that's, been saved as preserved there. Mm-hmm. The retention ponds were lower before this storm came in. The lakes were lower than usual for this time of year when this storm came in. So we didn't see a lot of flooding. I know that the grading of your yard and the neighborhood in general and all the retention ponds they put in, the developers take this very seriously. Yeah. There's a lot of clauses with your warranty saying that you can't come in and, add sand or add dirt and try to create a hill in your yard or do different things like that, because you're going to mess up the way they've designed the drainage for these newer neighborhoods to happen. And so older neighborhoods, no telling
Yeah, 100 years of people kind of doing their own thing, planting gardens and playhouses in their backyard, etc. The plane of the grading has changed, and let's be honest, like how they've developed these communities now, like it has changed as well, right? Like the standards of building and developing has changed as well. So
yeah, and I would tell you this house that's going to be kind of in the corner here. I don't know if the drone. I think I backed up the drone to try to catch it. That was one that I was very curious to see because there's that big retention pond that runs up on the side of the house. Mm-hmm. And then in the back of the house, there is a ditch for those ponds. And I really kind of expected their yard to be flooded, but from what I could tell, it wasn't. Now, sometimes during the storm, when you have a lot of rain, it's going to look one way. And then by the morning, it drains off pretty well. That's how it's designed to do. Now, even though there wasn't flooding in Villamar, I have seen people talking about some water like in the homes, and again, it's been not every builder's had that issue, let me put it that way.
It's been the same builders, what we're noticing. So some people have it come up through the floor, and I'm not exactly sure what the issue would be there, if maybe in their garden area the water's draining under the house or not draining away from the house like it should. I'm not sure. Definitely, if you don't have gutters on your home and the grading of your land slopes towards your home at all, or water sits there, if water puddles next to your home, it will come through. It just will come through. A fix to that is getting a gutter or having a gutter where some of that water valleys down and may sit. But if your water's sitting in an area, that's super, super. Water will penetrate anything that it can. It will penetrate anything that it can.
A lot of people are surprised when they come here that the builders don't automatically put gutters on your home. Yeah. Often that's something you're going to add later. It's just something where they save money. Now, I have been in the design studio with someone looking at a Pulte home this week, and getting gutters on the house was an option for them. I don't know if it's cheaper to just do it yourself afterwards or not, but that's something to think about.
Definitely doable. Definitely something that we can do aftermarket for you. I have some people that could do gutters for a very, very affordable price. But yeah, a lot of these entry-level builders, they will not add gutters to your home. But, I definitely wanted to at least show people a big community in Polk County to just show them how it held up. We found some interesting things in there. You made a really good point about shifting our clients' inspection back till after the storm, right? And then also getting your insurance binded days before your storm, because some of these insurance companies will stop binding insurance, if we're creeping up on that named storm, right?
Yeah, we did have a closing 2 days before the storm was supposed to hit, and I was concerned that her homeowner's insurance wouldn't bind and we wouldn't be able to close, and thankfully it had about 4 days earlier. So that's a good reason to have that leading up to closing in place. She was moving in.
Imagine that. First time coming to Florida, and it's like, all right, hey, here go your keys. Get ready for this hurricane.
Yeah,
she did so well.
They did lose power for a few days, but they had a safe, solid house to be in. And, all in all, I would say if you want to live in Florida and you're concerned about hurricanes, that Polk County is a great place to be, because this is where people evacuate to.
Yeah.
Even though I was only without power for about 24 hours, the weather cooled down.
I was about 2 hours. It was perfect, though. Like, the power went out, and then the freaking cool air came in, and it was like, all right, thank you. We at least had that. But, we had about 2 days, I would say 2 days without power. And so some people went 3, 4, that pushed into the more rural areas. But I think we checked out really well, given that, this was a Cat 5 that was coming directly to us. Obviously ended up being a 3, 2, 1 when it got over us, but nonetheless checked out very, very well.
Yes, a generator is definitely a worthwhile investment to keep your fridge running so your food doesn't spoil, but most likely you have a friend around the corner that still has power, and you can go hang out at their house till yours comes back.
And if you're new, you have friends in us. We'll make sure to take care of you. Anything else that you wanted to bring up about Polk post-hurricane before we hop off?
Now, I would say it's pretty consistent. All the neighborhoods I went to, it's definitely worth, if you're going to get that privacy fence, to get the hurricane-rated fencing. My neighbors and their fences all held up really well. I was impressed because I know which direction the winds generally come from, and she usually gets those straight line winds at the back of her fence, and it held up. So I do think the protections, and as they keep improving on the construction quality and the hurricane ratings, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Not at all.
So go through a hurricane. So
not at all. Well, thank you for the birthday wish. Thank you for giving us that update. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right.
Now we're in the Plant City area for the time being, and then we're going to shift over to Claremont. But, we have Chris here with us. Chris, what's going on, bud?
Man, what's going on, brother? I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. I do want to highlight something real quick. Well, that's as Central Florida as it gets right there. Look at that airboat. But, there were some communities in Plant City unexpectedly had some of this flooding. And one of the common themes that we're seeing is some of these older areas just got, they got hit with some flooding stuff. So the first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to go out to one of those popular communities, that we're in all the time in Plant City and check on it, right? How'd it go?
Yeah, no, Farm Everett and Plant City, it held up well. I mean, Plant City got hit pretty hard with street flooding and flooding all over. So once I got word from some of our people out there, like, hey, Plant City's getting hit pretty bad, I wanted to get out there and see how Plant City's doing, but also not just that, but Farm Everett. And Farm Everett held up well. They had some street flooding because there's this huge body of water that's right across the street from Farm Everett entrance. And they had some street flooding, but then it went into a variety of different, they got a great sewage system. So again, as I spoke to some of our people in there, they said, hey, none of our homes got flooded. We lost power for about 4 days. So they lost power about Wednesday night, right in the event when Hurricane Milton was in that Plant City area passing through. They got power back about Sunday night, so about 4 days with no power.
4 days, no power. I mean, that you don't want to go that long without power. It is what it is, but that's better than having a roof ripped off or your home being flooded. And once again, just kind of falling in order to all of, the other communities that we've been showing here on the episode. It's like the newer communities have done extremely well. I'm talking about homes that are next to ponds, next to lakes, corner lots, etc., have done extremely, extremely well. So to hear that, of this right here in Plant City, the worst of it in, one of our popular communities out there is this right here in a retention ditch that it's designed to do this in. I think it checked out really, really, really well.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, let's shift gears. We're going to go over to, we just wanted to pop in on that one real quick, but we're going to go over to this 27 corridor into the Claremont area. And Wellness Ridge, a very popular community for us out there, Ridgeview. I reach out to all of our clients before storms, during storms, and after storms. And as expected out there, the word was everything was fine, maybe a few of them without power here and there, but for the most part, you're not going to get any flooding out there.
Exactly. Claremont being known for their hills, wasn't really a ton of flooding. But what I do know is that many of our people out there did say that they did lose power, but it was back up within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So they had some pretty forceful winds. A lot of the vinyl fencing at Wellness Ridge was knocked down. Besides that, Wellness Ridge held up well, and all of Claremont, right off Route 27.
Yeah. So with it being on the ridge, we talk about this quite a bit. Right here is a ridge that goes all the way down into Lake Wales, and some of the highest points in Florida are throughout this ridge right here. I knew that Claremont was going to hold up well. A lot of our clients that went to Claremont decided to buy in Claremont was for that reason. And so I think that they were very happy and pleased. Although even communities in Tampa that are new that we show all of the time, the newer construction communities, did well. They did really, really well. So, I would say obviously like Lake County, Claremont. Well, let's just talk about Claremont and 27. I would give them a grade A. The winds were high. The one concern I could have had was maybe they're sitting up so high that there's nothing obstructing the wind and it's getting a direct hit, but no issues.
Absolutely. There was no missing shingles. I checked with a variety of different clients and I didn't see any missing shingles. Everyone was just going about everyday living per usual. So I'm happy that although many of our people said that they were doing well, they were actually be able to see that so we can show it to everyone else as well.
100%, man. How long have you been in Florida now? What, 5-6 years?
5 years.
Would you say that's the biggest hurricane that you've been a part of?
The biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite
You're like giving people advice. You're giving our clients advice, right? You're like, all right, this is what you need to do. It's your first hurricane, but you're also like giving yourself advice too. Like, man, I got to take my own advice here.
Yeah, no, because like I've been here and I've heard, other hurricane seasons, like, yeah, it's going to be rough and this and that, and then it winds up not being what it was supposed to be.
Sure.
So I kind of was being oblivious to this one. I was like, wait, no, hold on, like this is pretty serious. We was watching a ton of news. I'm like, hey, we prepped ourselves, and I'm like, man, but to be honest with you, man, for it to be in like a 1 in 1,000 event, I mean, the community's held up really well.
Extremely well. So Claremont checked out very, very well. We appreciate you obviously checking on our clients, getting out there, taking a look at the community and giving people some, post-hurricane assurance that these communities did well. Ridgeview did very well. We popped into some other communities as well. So, yeah, I mean, do you have anything else for them before we hop off this one?
I don't have anything else. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for
okay.
having me on.
For sure. If anybody has any questions, because we're going to end it on this one, make sure you reach out to us, team@morefla.com. If you're looking to buy another positive to working with us, besides the fact that we're going to charge you $0, another positive to working with us is that we're able to, before, after, during the hurricane, be people that are here for you. A lot of you, we had people that closed 2, 3, 4 days before the storm, and we were your only source of anything while you were down here. And we want to be that. But even post-hurricane, if you have homes under contract, we go out to these communities like Chris is doing here. We get these updates for you. We check on your shingles, etc. Oh, I saw a down stop sign. Hold on now. Whoa. Let's see. This is probably the worst damage out there.
Yep. The vinyl fencing, some down stop signs.
A lot of these little trees too. Some of our clients said that, right? Like
Trees,
these little trees, they kind of blew over here and there, but for the most part, did very, very well. Okay, cool.
Some did hold up though. Some did.
Some of them did. That one over there is hanging on, boy. I tell you what, I'm seeing more and more good stuff here. Check this one out. Hey, baby, look at this one right here. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Hey, if you haven't hit the like button already, make sure you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Catch you guys on the next one.